Hello crafty family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So Crafty. For today's DIY projects, we will be creating some beautiful home decor pieces that you can create using these items from the Dollar Tree. Now, to get you all started, I've included the full supply list in the description box below. Now, to all of my amazing subscribers and visitors, I wanted to say hey, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you definitely should, so you could be the first to see hundreds of fresh and original crafts on my channel. So, let's just dive in and get started with all of these awesome projects today. Now, this project is a beaded arched lantern tray. Now, for this project, we're going to need one of these boxed art pieces from the Dollar Tree, and I located these in the store near the photo frames. We're also going to need 2 of these beaded wreath rings from the Dollar Tree. Now we're going to start off with the boxed art piece for our project, and if it's in the plastic, go ahead and remove the outer plastic from the item. Now these boxed frames are really sturdy and great for bases on lanterns, so I'm going to use it for this today. Now that inside hook where you hang pictures on, I'm just using a utility blade going across the edge a couple of times, and you'll see that it's easily removed, and now you're left with a nice clean cut for your boxed art frame. Now what we're going to do is we are going to paint the inside and also the outside edges of this piece. Now what I like to use is my Zinsser 123 spray paint. I like to go in with a few coats of this to cover all of the designs, and then I'll follow up with a final coat of any white spray paint of your choice. Now if you don't want to use spray paint for your projects, you definitely can use some chalk paint in a couple of coats. Now while that's outside drying, go ahead and grab your beaded wreath rings. What we're going to do is just remove any tags from that, and then we can start forming these. Now if you can't find the beaded wreath rings, you can use one of the metal wreath forms at the Dollar Tree and loose beads to create one of these as your own. Now in order to make these for our lantern, I'm taking a pair of wire clippers or pliers, and then I'm just going to disconnect the edge. It's a simple hook that you open up, and then I want to kind of form an arch out of these beaded wreath rings. Now when you form them by hand, they can be a little wonky, but what I did find is that sliding this over the arm of a sofa, or in my case I put it on top of my head like a headband and kind of pulled down, and you could see it made the absolute perfect arch. So who knew? Just use the top of your head. So that's what I did with this, just to form that arch, and we're going to repeat this for your second wreath ring. So now we have both of these wreath rings all formed. This will be our arches for our lantern. Very simple. Now with these wreath rings, they will be crisscrossing in the center, and in order for them to not create any bulk for the bottom layer, what we're going to do is we're going to take one bead off one of those arches. Now what this will do is this will create a little gap at the very top center, so the other one crossing over will create a nice flat surface, and you won't have that hump at the top. So once we find that center, you see there is the gap from our missing bead, and in order to mark that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab one of those little clippies from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to place it in that spot so we remember that is the center of our bottom arch, and when we cross it over, everything will be nice and flat at the very top. So now our base is now dry. You can see the inside and the outside edges are painted. And if you've been following me for a while, you know I love to finish off the bottom of my projects. It just gives a little care to your project. It shows pride in crafting, and it's great for resale and covering up the original artwork. So attaching a piece of the brown craft paper or some crafting foam would be perfect. And all you have to do is add hot glue to the bottom of that tray, press it on to that craft paper, and then we're just going to go in with a utility blade and trim off all of the excess. And once that is done, you have a nice clean bottom of your project, and it looks very professional. So now that that's done, we can proceed with adding our arches to our tray. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab those arches, and again, the first one is going to be the bottom layer, and that's the one with the gap in the beads. So what I'm going to do is we are going to put this inside the tray at a diagonal as shown here in corner to corner. Now the wire that is inside these beads is really pretty sturdy, and when it's crisscrossed, it is very sturdy. So don't get discouraged. It's not going to be wobbly when you're done. It's really going to be secure. So in order to secure these, I am just going to put a generous, and I do mean generous, hot glue in the corner. I am using wood hot glue. That's why it's a little bit yellow. So I'm using wood hot glue because it is much stronger than your standard hot glue. I get it from Amazon, and I'll definitely link it in the description box below. So I'm just going to press and hold that in place for a few seconds, and then clip it in place with one of those large Dollar Tree clips to hold it while I do the same thing in the opposite corner. So again, I am putting a generous amount of that wood hot glue into the corner, and then pressing the end of that bead strand right in there, and then I'm actually going to be clipping this in place and allowing it to sit and dry for about 2 to 3 minutes, and that's enough to give it a good hold. As you see here, this is one arch already in there. I'm not holding it, it's not clipped, it is very secure, and it's not going anywhere. Now if you don't want to use hot glue, you definitely could use something like E6000, but keep in mind it does take a little while for E6000 to dry. I would suggest at least 24 hours for it to completely dry. So now what we're going to do is take our second beaded wreath arch, and we are going to put it on top. Now I did remove the clip, and where the arch will actually cross over is in that gap. So you could see it is nice and even. So once we get that arch crossed through, I'm just going to grab one of those large clips from the Dollar Tree, place it in the center, and just hold it there. We don't have to glue it at all. We're just going to hold it there. And just by holding the other arch in place, you can see how this is coming together, you guys. So all we're going to do is take our glue and do the same thing on both opposite corners and allow that to dry. And here is what it looks like. Oh my goodness, this is so reminiscent of my original racetrack lantern design, but this is with the beaded wreath rings. I'm so excited. So I'm kind of shaking this around, showing you how sturdy it is. I love how this is coming together. Very gorgeous. So now you can have the option of adding a topper to this. You really don't need to, but if you want to, you definitely could. And one of the favorite things I love to use as a topper is one of these finials, and I get them in a 2-pack at Lowe's. These are large craft finials. It has a little dowel screw inside that you unscrew, and you can simply glue this to the top. If you want to stick with all Dollar Tree items, you can get some of these rings from the Dollar Tree. These are like those wood or bamboo rings in a 2.1-inch size. I am going to use this ring for my project. So all I'm going to do is kind of affix it at the very top in between two of those little beads at the top. It'll fit perfect. So you could see here is the top of the lantern. I'm going to add just a couple lines of that wood hot glue back and forth. You just want a nice generous amount up there, not so much that it drips, but just enough to fit into those crevices. And then when we take our round ring, we could sit it right there, and it kind of nestles down in between there. And we want to actually sit there and hold that for at least a couple of minutes until that glue gets a really good bond on there. And as you can see, this is where it sits up top. So now that it's dried for about 5 minutes, this is what your arched lantern will look like with the bead. Now, if you notice, you could still see small parts of that wood glue in there. And what I did is I took like a tan colored acrylic paint and took some white, and I'm going to blend this together until I get the color of my wood beads on my project. And I'm just going to paint over where I see that glue. And what this works is like a camouflage. It'll camouflage all that glue in so it's not as obvious. This is totally optional, but I tried to make these look as high-end as possible, so I do want to disguise any glue that may be peeking out in between those beads. Now once that's done, you're basically done with this piece and you could decorate. And here it is, all decorated and placed on display in my space. I love it. Now for this display, I just placed a few battery candles and greenery inside for a clean and sophisticated look. Now I really love this fresh spring and summer look, but you can decorate this for every season year round, which I love about this project, and it makes it so versatile. Now, even though I love this arch design, you can actually switch it up. For a different look, just squeeze the beaded arms that are near the top to make a stylish curved accent. Now, the fact that the wire in these wreaths is so easy to manipulate, this is a bonus, and it would allow you to make easy modifications like this. And I love this type of accent at the top of lanterns. Now, you all have to let me know what you think about this project in the comments below. Now, this project is a caged pedestal decor. Now, this project, you're going to need one of these ceramic candle holders from the Dollar Tree. And you're going to need this cage decor piece from the bead collection at the Dollar Tree. So now I'm just gathering up my pieces for this project, including the cage decor and setting that candle holder to the side. Now with the cage decor, if you have any tags hanging on it, go ahead and clip those off. And we are going to actually be changing this cage decor a little bit by removing these little bees. They are super cute and you could definitely repurpose them, but I'm going to remove them. And as you can see, removing them is really easy. I'm just wiggling them back and forth and they just snap off. Now, if you have a little trouble with this, you could definitely use some wire clippers or something like that, but it is really easy to remove by hand. And as you can see, now you have a clean cage base to work with for your project. Now, as you can see, it has a little clip opening where you can fill it with all kinds of things if you want to. So this is going to be really fun. Now, I wanted to change the color of my cage, so I am taking it outside and giving it a couple of coats with some white spray paint. And here is the cage, all nice and spray painted. Now I use that ring at the top to hold it. We're going to be removing that. We don't need it for this project. So I'm just clipping it in a couple places with some wire clippers and then removing it from the project. So here is our final cage. This is the finished look of this cage with the paint. I'm loving how it looks sprayed inside and out. So now what we're going to do is we are going to join the cage at the top of your candle holder base to make it look like a pedestal design. Now to adhere this, you can use E6000 for permanent, but I am going to be using my wood glue that's already in my glue gun, and it does hold it for the purpose of my project, but does allow me just a little wiggle room in case I want to repurpose the project by detaching them. So what I'm going to do, since this candle holder has a raised lip on the outside, I'm putting a generous bead around the outside of this candle holder and then sitting the bottom of the cage right on top and holding it until it adheres. And here is what it looks like. It's just so simple and easy, but it still looks stylish and glamorous. So all you really need to do now is decorate it, and you can still open it up and add what you want inside. For mine, I wanted to keep it clean and simple, so I have some pieces of boxwood here that I'm going to use. I have these little ceramic birds, and look, they were only $1 from Dollar General. So you do want to check them out to see if you want these decorative birds. You can also place some battery candles. Now you can use the smaller candles, and then this large flat one I got from a Halloween decor piece last year at Dollar Tree. So I have these two that I can use, but you can add anything that you like. And check it out, you guys. How adorable is this cage decor piece when it's all embellished? Now I just added some greenery along with the little bluebird inside, and it's super cute as it peeks through the cage. Now, if you have other small animal figurines or trinkets, that would work well inside of this cage too. Now, I really love just how simple and sweet that this looks, but you can also change it to a more neutral look. Now, all I did was remove the little bird, and then I placed a candle inside. This looks absolutely amazing. Now, you can make one or a pair of these for your space, and they would be so gorgeous for decor or even a table centerpiece. Now, I really do hope that you give this really easy DIY a try. Now, this project is a set of ceramic house decor pieces. Now, we're going to need 2 of these ceramic houses from the Dollar Tree, and I just chose 2 in 2 different styles. Now, I'm going to take these houses, and they are all white, and they have kind of a rough finish. They don't have the shiny finish, and you can see they have the little embossed windows and doors that are hardly can be seen, but I'm going to embellish them where they really pop. So what I decided to do is I'm going to be using a combination of some black acrylic paint, and this is mainly going to be for the roof. And I decided to go with the fine point Sharpie for all of the windows and doors, and this will just eliminate any kind of risk for mistakes with the paint, and you can control it a lot better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my Sharpie very carefully, and I'm going to start going around the window designs. Now, this is really simple. You can use a Sharpie pen. You could even use a paint pen. It just makes it really easy and simple to make all of these features pop. Now, here are one of the windows, all nice and outlined, and I'm just going to complete this for the remainder of the house. And on this house, here are all the windows on the front and the sides. Really cute. I'm loving how these are turning out. Now we're just going to do this for the second house. Now here's the second house all done. I've done 3 sides. Now on the back of the smaller house, there are some embellished windows. I didn't do the back side just in case I wanted to still have a white side of the house, but these are what both of them look like. So now all we have to do is go in with our black acrylic paint, and we are going to paint the roofs, which is really simple. So I'm going to be using some black acrylic paint and a middle sized paintbrush, like a medium, and I'm just going to carefully paint all of the roofs, making sure I'm careful around the edges to not overpaint it. And you can see just by adding the paint to the top really makes these pop. I really love the accent of the black roof on all of these houses, and these make such cute little decor pieces when they are all painted. Now, as an additional accent to these, I wanted to add some greenery bushes to these. Now, these are from a wheat pick that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I just cut little snippets of it to add to these houses. Now, I cut small snippets for the small house, and then I cut longer snippets for the taller house, just so they wouldn't block the windows. So I'm going to place them on the houses as shown here. Now to add them, I'm just using just the smallest bit of hot glue to adhere these in place. And of course, this is totally optional. I just wanted to add a little bit of greenery to mine to kind of jazz them up for my particular decor. And here are both houses with the greenery. These are so sweet and simple. And here they are, both houses on display. I mean, these are so cute. Now, it's just amazing how simple a Sharpie pen and some acrylic paint can make these houses just come to life. I really do hope that you give these simple, easy DIYs a try, because this is one that I really enjoy doing in all of its simplicity. Now listen, all of these budget-friendly DIYs today are so sweet, but let me know in the comments which one was your favorite today. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoy crafting as much as I do, and share this video with your friends that love to craft too. Be sure to check me out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest for more projects and even giveaways. Now, don't forget to subscribe to see more, because it's absolutely free. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.